The Long Island home that became the center of the Gilgo Beach serial killer investigation will soon be for sale. The Massapequa Park home, owned by Rex Heuermann, was subject to multiple searches following his 2023 arrest on multiple murder charges.
In 2010 and 2011, the discovery of multiple women's bodies on Gilgo Beach shocked the town. Police found no suspects despite a massive inquiry into the horrifically degraded bodies.
The officer located a body.
It seemed to be wrapped in burlap, which didn't make any sense.
The killer's identity and crimes were unsolved for years, but later got solved by a single clue found on a pizza. Who committed these horrifying murders? Why someone can kill multiple women like this? Let's jump right into the mystery. The investigation began with the disappearance of Shannan Gilbert, a 24-year-old woman who vanished in May 2010. After human remains were uncovered near Ocean Parkway in Oak Beach on December 11, 2010, her disappearance became a major mystery. Gilbert's chilling 911 call claiming they are trying to kill me sparked a larger, unsolved mystery.
State police.
Yeah, there's somebody after me. These people are plotting to kill me.
Where are you, Shannan?
Suffolk County Police Officer John Mallier and his cadaver dog Blue searched the gated complex where Gilbert was last seen after her abduction.
Canine searched the area exhaustively for Shannan Gilbert.
Despite a thorough summer 2010 search, they found no leads. Mallier searched along Ocean Parkway on December 11th. They pushed through thick forest and light snow. The team found Melissa Barthelemy's decomposing burlap-wrapped remains when the dog detected a scent. The police found 3 more bodies while searching. Maureen Brainard-Barnes, Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello were identified as victims. They were all within 500 feet.
It's really, really hard because I miss her so much.
Suffolk County Police increased their search efforts and resources as more remains were found along Ocean Parkway. The first set of remains was uncovered in December 2010, therefore Ocean Parkway patrols escalated. To comb the heavy brush and marshy areas, police used cadaver dogs, forensic teams, and modern equipment. After finding more remains, including Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack, police renewed their search along the same highway in March 2011. Their search expanded to Nassau County and nearby beaches. Officers searched for leads to the killer for many hours in severe weather and terrain. State, FBI, and local police collaborated on the investigation. They investigated tips, forensic evidence, and every other information that could identify the killer. Police updated the public and offered a $25,000 reward for information that could lead to an arrest as the case became increasingly complicated. The finding of Shannan Gilbert's remains in December 2011 prompted doubts about her connection to the others. Some thought Gilbert's death was accidental, others suspected foul play. The cops pursued every lead and searched for explanations. Over a year, Gilbert's disappearance had no explanation, but on December 13, 2011, a breakthrough occurred. A marsh half a mile from her last sighting yielded her remains. Her clothes and other items were found nearby. Many first suspected Gilbert's death was linked to the Long Island serial killer. After lengthy investigation, investigators found her death unrelated to the other crimes. Despite this, Shannan's mother, Maureen Gilbert, publicly claimed that her daughter was killed by the same person as the Ocean Parkway bodies. As additional bodies were recovered, pressure increased, but to no avail. The police pursued justice for victims and their families despite the obstacles.
If not for Shannan Gilbert, the killing field would have lie fallow and no one would have known about it.
The Gilgo Beach murder investigation was complicated by Suffolk County Police Department internal disputes. The department has leadership challenges for years, especially under former Chief James Burke. These issues hampered work and frustrated investigators when they found dead ends. On December 10, 2015, the FBI intervened. They had helped with searches before, but now they're handling the case. Why was the FBI's involvement delayed? Despite the FBI's new involvement, the investigation was difficult. Police struggled for years without success. How could they solve the case when all avenues led nowhere? It was obvious something had to change. Suffolk County Police Commissioner Geraldine Hart boldly restarted the probe in 2020. She released crucial material on January 16th to spark new leads. One release showed a belt found near the Ocean Parkway crime site. The belt's initials didn't match any known victims. Who owned it? Could this be the case-opening clue? Besides releasing evidence, the police announced they were employing new scientific procedures to investigate leads. GilgoNews.com allows anyone with information to share it to engage the public. In June 2019, researchers used genetic genealogy. Everyone wondered if this novel approach would solve the case. Years of dead ends and unanswered questions plagued the probe. Genetic genealogy was novel and successful. In May 2020, authorities recognized Jane Doe number 6 inches as Valerie Mack. Her remains had been found in parts for years, but this new approach allowed them to connect her DNA to her family, giving her a name. Another breakthrough occurred in August 2023 when Jane Doe number 7 inches was recognized as Karen Vergata. For nearly 30 years, her identity was unknown. The case has advanced thanks to genetic genealogy. The investigation gained impetus from these achievements. Though it was still a lengthy path, the piece was slowly coming together. The 2010 Gilgo Beach murder victims were among a horrible pattern of murders that had haunted Long Island for years. The first victim was Melissa Barthelemy. The first victim, Melissa Barthelemy, was 24 years old and she was originally from the Bronx. She disappeared in July 2009 after depositing money into her bank account and calling an ex-boyfriend.
She answers, Melissa, where have you been? And this voice is saying, oh, this isn't Melissa.
For weeks, her 15-year-old sister, Amanda, received threatening calls from Melissa's phone. The caller mocked Amanda, claiming Melissa was dead. Despite tracing the calls to Massapequa and Madison Square Garden, police couldn't identify the caller. Melissa's body, the first of the Gilgo Four, was found alongside Maureen's in December 2010. Maureen Brainard-Barnes, 25, from Connecticut, was the second victim. She vanished on July 9, 2007, after telling a friend she was headed to NYC. As a mother of 2, Maureen turned to sex work to support her family. After facing financial hardship, she returned to the trade but never returned from a meeting with a customer. Her remains were found in December 2010, 3 years later. She was bound with leather belts, one of which contained DNA that would later link to the killer's wife. The third victim was Megan Waterman, a 22-year-old from Maine. She disappeared in 2010 after posting escort ads on Craigslist. Megan was controlled by her boyfriend, who was involved in sex trafficking.
Part of you's like missing. Or it's just like something's always off.
When she failed to check in with her 3-year-old daughter, her family reported her missing.
I would do anything to bring her back, but I can't, and it just frustrates me so bad.
Her body was found alongside the others in December 2010. Although her boyfriend was arrested on trafficking charges, no direct link was made to her murder. Amber Costello died 4th. On September 2, 2010, Amber, 27, from West Babylon, New York, disappeared after seeing a customer who offered $1,500.
This guy was so relentless. He called several times. He was on the phone with her for quite a while each time.
The client, a man who called her multiple times, was linked to the killer via his Chevrolet Avalanche. Amber's family thought she was in therapy and unaware of her sex work.
But as amazing as she was as tormented as she was.
Her terrible experience showed the vulnerability of addicts and sex traders. The 2011 hunt for victims yielded new remains. Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, and Baby Doe were found dead near Oak Beach and Gilgo Beach. The mystery worsened with these new victims. There were how many more? The hunt expanded east into Nassau County, yielding more distressing remains. The remnants of Peaches and Baby Doe were haunting. In 1997, Peaches' dismembered body was found. She was confirmed to be Baby Doe's mother after DNA testing linked her to the 2011 remains. Unfortunately, both victims' identities and deaths remain unknown. In 2010, the remains of Asian Doe were recovered alongside the first 4 bodies. This victim may have been a transsexual woman. DNA testing and further inquiry may disclose the truth. Despite technological advances, identifying these victims proved difficult. It appeared difficult to solve the case with no leads and dead ends. How could investigators uncover the killer when they were already having trouble identifying victims? As fresh remains were found, the Gilgo Beach murder case became dark and complicated, leaving authorities and the public with more questions than answers. John Bittrolff was briefly a suspect in 2017. Bittrolff was a convicted murderer who killed sex workers, and his crimes resembled the Gilgo Beach case. He hunted and used hacksaws which matched some victims' dismemberment. Though these ties were troubling, Bittrolff was neither prosecuted with the Gilgo Beach murders nor directly linked to them. In July 2023, everything changed. Rex Heuermann, 59, a Massapequa Park architect, was charged with murdering Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. The search for Heuermann took approximately 15 years. There was more. Heuermann was charged with murdering Maureen Brainard-Barnes in January 2024. Finally, in June 2024, Jessica Taylor and Sandra Costello, the 2 unrelated victims, were charged with murder. After years of ambiguity, how did police identify Heuermann? In 2022, numerous significant pieces of evidence tied Heuermann to the case, a breakthrough. They found a Heuermann-registered Chevrolet Avalanche near a crime scene. Cell phone records showed Heuermann spoke to 3 victims before their killings. Mitochondrial DNA testing was possibly most damaging. A Heuermann-discarded pizza crust matched 1 victim's hair.
That's where we obtained, his full profile from the pizza crust left in the box.
In terms of speaking to my client, the only thing I can tell you that he did say as he was in tears was, "I didn't do this."
The fact that Heuermann's wife's hair matched numerous victims' samples was even more alarming. Importantly, she and their children were out of state during the murders. Could Heuermann be living a parallel life and hiding his worst secret from his loved ones? Heuermann's arrest gave hope, but the inquiry was complicated. Dead ends and false starts plagued the case until Heuermann's arrest broke through. He may have the key to unraveling the mystery. The long-awaited answers were available. After months of meticulous research, Rex Heuermann was accused with 2 more killings. They spent a lot of time searching Heuermann's family home and a Manorville, Long Island, wooded area for evidence. New charges pertain to the 2003 murder of Jessica Taylor, whose remains were found in March 2011 near Gilgo Beach, and the 1993 murder of Sandra Costello, whose remains were found in the North Sea, Long Island. Heuermann is now charged with both felonies. Heuermann's relationship to the victim was made possible by this DNA match. John Bittrolff, a local murderer, was initially suspected of murdering Sandra Costello. Recent DNA technology has illuminated the case, pointing to Heuermann as the genuine killer. DNA evidence from the crime scene links Heuermann to Costello's murder, according to prosecutors. These new allegations broadened Heuermann's alleged misdeeds, suggesting a decades-long murder. With this new knowledge, his connection to further victims is unclear. The probe continues to disclose more frightening details. As criminal charges surfaced, Rex Heuermann's family is struggling. The scandal has stressed his cancer-stricken wife. Due to their father's criminal history, Heuermann's children have trouble finding work. Additionally, Heuermann's victims' families continue to suffer. While justice may bring some consolation, losing loved ones still hurts. They find little solace in the legal process as they seek closure for loss. This case has had lasting emotional effects on Heuermann's and the victims' families.